Hello, Internet, and thank you very much for tuning into the Cloud Native FM podcast. And I have my guest with me and my wonderful friend from Cloud Therapist YouTube channel, Richard Simon. Richard, over to you.
Hey, good evening, good morning, good afternoon. I think it is over in Salt Lake City. Yeah, thank you for the intro, Same. Great to be here, and I'm really looking forward to just running through the running through the event. We're obviously focusing on KubeCon, which is happening in Salt Lake City for these streams. And hopefully we've got lots of stuff to do. We've got lots of guests that are appearing as well, which should be good fun. And there should be lots of also good activities going on around the conference, and we're going to be talking about those. And we're really looking forward to just going through everything and just getting some impressions from people there, getting some sort of live feeds as well, hopefully from the showcase. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a great marathon for the next 3 days. So yeah, it should be good fun.
Yes, absolutely. So, folks, just give you some impression because within a few minutes from now, our guests are joining us from the KubeCon conference hall. Today is, people like to call it KubeCon Day Zero or somewhat of the co-located event. So, what's happening in the CNCF, these huge ladder of open source projects, and these have their own conference uh, dedicated to that. And some new domains are appearing all the time, like WASM or Platform Engineering Day. So all these, I think 13 or 14 co-located events happening at the same time right now as we're speaking. So, and today is a Platform Engineering Day co-located event. Then the Cilium has their own conference dedicated to the eBPF and the Cilium related stuff. And there's so much going on. So within a few minutes from now, we will see our guest telling us what's happening inside that as well. But give you some quick insights in the conference right now. Right now, there's a two big announcement. WASM Cloud is now a CNCF incubated project. Dapper is now a CNCF graduated project, and Cilium releases its report, Project Velocity Report, and you can see it some have a great insight which countries, which companies are actually contributing to that project as well. And the major contributor from Cilium project, as I was speaking, is a Sovelant. So I think without any further delay, we can bring people some to on board as well. Over to you, Bill. You are on stage now.
Hey,
How's it going?
I'm
hello,
great. I'm
Bill.
great.
How are you?
Bill,
Good, yeah, definitely. Coming at you live from KubeCon.
Yeah,
awesome.
I haven't seen you for ages. How you
Yeah,
been?
good, yeah.
Excellent. So when did you arrive, Bill? Give us a little bit
I,
of
arri-
background.
I arrived on Sunday. Still very jet lagged from the US, getting here, but we're here. There's a lot of energy from all the people at the conference. I'm really excited. So
Cool. Excellent. Okay. All
Oh,
right.
that's
So
great.
I was just going to say, Bill, what's happening with Isovalent at the moment? What are you guys up to?
yeah, so you can see kind of right here all the co-located event days, the booths going on here. There's a big line at the Isovalent one right now because they're handing out one of the books on eBPF security. So
Ah,
it's pretty cool to see that. And there's been a lot of great talks at Cilium and eBPF Day so far too. So
I have my own signed copy from Liz.
yeah, nice,
I don't know if you can
Oh,
see that.
that's
Make that out.
nice from
There you
Liz. Yeah, cool.
Fantastic.
awesome. So, Bill, where are you actually currently standing as you're speaking to us?
I'm live on the conference floor, so all the co-located events are like in this door over here. So I'll be
Okay.
heading back there in a few minutes to go because I'm chairing Cilium and eBPF Day. So all the people that you've seen here are talking with like the vendors, trying to figure out solutions to their technology problems too. So
Awesome. Great. So, how was, I think the co-located talks are happening. Is it the Cilium or the EBP, Cilium Con or the EBPF Con? Is a talk is already going on? And have you watched any of them? What was actually intended? for the people who are listening to this talk?
Yeah, so we had a bunch of great end user talks so far. So we had ones from Confluent, we're gonna have ones from Reddit, we have from Samsung, from Sony, from eBay. So about how they're using Cilium in production, how it's helping them overcome challenges for like multi-cloud connectivity, for things around security. So yeah, lots of great topics and conversations going on.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And I think Cilium is one of the most popular project in the CNCF. And the one conference we talk about is happening for a very long time, I believe. And there is tons of going on. And I can tell you some of the numbers from the contribution report I'm reading right now. The 37% of the Cilium contribution is come from USA, 2% from Canada, 9% from France, 2% from United Kingdom, where Richard is right now, 3% from Belgium, 5% from Germany, where Bill from, 3% from Italy, and 27% from Switzerland. That's surprising. So Bill, what's
What
your
are they
thought
doing
on
in
this?
Switzerland?
Yeah, we have a lot of great engineers in Switzerland. So a lot of isovalent space there, which is quite nice. So
Awesome, awesome.
Fantastic. Bill, did you get a chance to catch any of the keynotes from this morning?
I gave the opening remarks for Cilium and eBPF Day. So there's a lot of great announcements. If you check out on LinkedIn, I posted my slides already, and there's announcements like eBPF verifier audit, a threat model coming out. Cilium hit 20K stars. There's an RFC in the IATF for eBPF, so lots of great announcements. I'd recommend checking it out on LinkedIn.
Cool. Okay. Yeah, we'll definitely check that out, and we'll try and maybe drop the link to. Was it a post on LinkedIn? You said yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. All right. I'll have a look at that.
Awesome, great. So, Bill, also I want to know your thoughts on this because if I look at the project reports once again, there's a three big, I think, from the contributions by company. So, a Sovalent is a number one contributor for the Cilium, and then is Google, then Cloudflare, then SUSE, and then Solo. So can you tell a little bit about a Sovalent in general, and if people want to join the Sovalent booth, what are the way they can actually go to that booth?
Yeah, so Cilium Isovalent is the main creator of Cilium, and we do most of the development. And we have a lot of engineers, especially in Switzerland, like we were saying. If you want to meet us at the booth at KubeCon, then come check us out. I'm happy to talk about Cilium, about Hubble, about Tetragon, and about the future of eBPF too.
Awesome, awesome. That's great. That's great. And also, Bill, can you little bit tell about what's your journey so far? How you actually gotten into that conference room? I've seen you somewhere in the post in the mountain yesterday. So can you little bit tell us about little journey of how you actually landing up in the conference area right now?
Yeah, I mean, Salt Lake City is like in the mountains. It's great to be able to escape in the morning. I went on a run this morning with a couple other people, and I'm excited to be back on the mountains. So get a little escape from the conference center too. So, yeah.
Richard, over to you now. I think you have something to share with Bill.
Well, yeah, I was just going to say, I was just, what's kind of been the, I know it's early days at the conference. So I'm probably kind of, people are still kind of digesting things, what have you. But what's kind of some of the things that people have been talking to you about in regards to eBPF? I mean, and even in general, I know you did the Echo events as well, which are fantastic, and I did try to attend as many of those as I can. Definitely recommend it to anybody watching. So what's kind of been some of the sort of feedback on Cilium and just generally eBPF sort of discussions?
Yeah, I think the biggest topic, like always, is around security. So that's why the eBPF Foundation is doing a lot around the security of eBPF as a technology. And then that's all. Also, we've had quite a few talks about like Tetragon too for securing your Kubernetes clusters. Beyond that, I think we're seeing a lot more like multi-cloud use cases, and people really like Cilium because it provides them a consistent way when they're running on multiple clouds. So AWS, GCP, Azure, on-prem, wherever you need to go, you get a consistent networking layer. So those are the two biggest themes I've seen so far around Cilium and eBPF.
Yes, and speaking of this thing, I think I actually mentioned many of the time. This is actually announced today. I think few minutes or 1 hour earlier that Cilium project journey report. So this is always fascinating to see what the project velocity will be, who are the companies contributors are contributing from. So folks who are listening to us right now, do check this out as well. It has some great insight into this as well. And speaking of Liz book, so Liz is our guest for tomorrow. That's a great thing. And
Awesome.
if
We're on a live stream right now. It's Marino's in here.
oh Marino,
How you
that's
doing?
great. I'm good. Marino, how's the experience so far? And where are you
It's been
coming
great.
from?
It's been great. I'm literally jetting down to my session because it starts in about an hour and 20. I got to prep like one last time because it's platform engineering day and it's policy as code. See y'all
Oh
later.
yes. Awesome,
Okay.
awesome.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Putting
So-
those two together.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
I'm asking you, Bill. It is a while actually Marina joined us. Is that Liz Rice is will be joining us tomorrow, and folks who might be want to sign the copy of Liz's book. So, what was the criteria for that? Because I have seen the longest queue in the KubeCon where the book
Yeah.
signing is
It's always
happening.
the longest queue, right?
Yeah. So, yeah, I think I have to be like Marino. I gotta jump. I gotta prepare my closing remarks. I gotta do a summary of everything that's happened today. So I gotta put the finishing touches on my slides. But it's been great to check in with you guys. Hopefully you can make it to next KubeCon. I guess we'll definitely, Richard, I'll see you in London.
Definitely.
Yes,
Siren, hopefully you
absolutely.
too. So,
Absolutely.
100%.
Wonderful.
Thanks,
all right.
thanks,
great to see
thanks,
you guys.
Bill.
Appreciate your
Have
time,
a
Bill.
great-
Enjoy the rest
All
of your week.
Thanks.
Take care.
have a great week, Bill.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. So that was Bill from Isovalent talking about Cilium and all the stuff that's going on around eBPF and also just cool dude from at KubeCon. So always have time for Bill. So it's actually been some
Awesome.
time since I've had him on the channel. I've been trying to do like a series of talks with Isovalent for some time. I've had Liz on before, so she's had a couple of talks with me. This one actually I've done, which I haven't had time to actually release yet. So I was at the open source conference over in Vienna a few months ago. You and I talked about that same. So we did a sort of a conference roundup and review. So I did talk with her when I was there, but I've not had time to actually release that. So that will be that's still on the schedule on the channel. So if anybody's listening, can check out some of the other videos and interviews I've already done with Liz, but there'll be more to come on the Cloud Therapist channel as well.
Absolutely. And speaking of folk, we might be Abby from Sintaso might join us. So he might be in a very crowded place right now. So I'm chatting with him on the Slack. Hopefully she can able to join us as well because she is in the Platform Engineering Day, the co-located event happening today. So I hope she can join us as well. And while she's joining, Richard, I think you have been in the KubeCon in the past. Like, share about your experience in general.
Yeah.
How are some of the places have been scheduled? The noise, the energy, and the space, everything. Can you share with the audience now?
Yeah, I think I was at the last one I actually did in person was the one in Valencia in Spain. So that was 2022. And I actually got a chance to meet Bill for the first time and some of the other people that have kind of been on my channel as well for the first time, which was absolutely fantastic. So certainly, I think the one of the great things about the conference is actually meeting people in person, and I think that was the second after the lockdowns. So the first one was in North America, but apparently, according to the people I spoke to in Valencia, not many people turned up for that because it was still close after sort of the whole COVID situation, and the lockdowns were just easing, I think, in North America at the time. So the one in Valencia was a lot. There's a lot more people. I think things had kind of got relaxed by that point when it comes to the lockdowns in Europe and UK and Europe. So I was able to travel, and then just meeting people there was I think definitely one of the highlights, which was fantastic. So everybody there really is kind of very open to conversation and talking. There's lots of people just kind of at lunch and things like that were talking to me as well. So that was really cool. So that's kind of it's a very nice and open sort of and very friendly sort of atmosphere. And then in the showcase area, the exhibition area, again, all the vendors are there. They're all open to talk to you and kind of explain technologies and have long sort of deep conversations, as I was having with them around sort of things like Kubernetes and what have you at the time, and observability. I was picking up a lot on observability at the time as well. So that was really kind of all part of it. I think the only thing that's maybe different from potentially other conferences is that KubeCon tends to move around even in North America. It's not always in it's not like always in LA or New York or something. And that has advantages and disadvantages. I think the advantages is that it obviously gets as close to people as possible, so East Coast, West Coast, whatever, or in this sort of in the central states. And then obviously you have the one in Europe. That's relatively easy for most people to get to. I think our sort of countries are kind of easier to get around, so we can maybe sort of get between all of the countries quite quickly. But then I think one of the things that does become a challenge sometimes is the venues, and then trying to find your way around the venues. And then depending on how the venues are signposted, you'll maybe struggle a little bit for the first day or so until you kind of orientate yourself to the venue and kind of figure out, okay, so level 1 is all the keynotes, level ground floor is all the whatever lightning talks, that kind of stuff. And then where's lunch being served? Obviously very important to get some nourishment and some drinks as well. So yes, I think that kind of, I think it's, generally speaking, it has been quite well signposted. So in most cases, it's been okay. But sometimes it can be a struggle in kind of trying to find the right rooms and right locations. So it's a little bit like that in Valencia, in my experience. But I think everything else was great. And I just got to sit in on lots and lots and lots of talks. I mean, you kind of having sort of information overload at the end of each day, but it's nevertheless really good fun to do, and you get, like I said, to sort of learn about all of these new things and pick up all the latest trends that are happening and so on. So that's part of it. And then there's also kind of fun events happening in the evening. If you're there with colleagues or friends, or you're meeting up with people, then you can hang around and have some fun with them as well, and have dinner and maybe kind of go to, I think there was like a beach barbecue they did or something. So I was invited to that, so I attended. And actually, luckily, I attended Valencia, KubeCon Valencia, as part of the press. So I was actually part of the media contingency at the conference, which meant I had access to the media lounge and all the other things, and got a chance to kind of do lots of talks and interviews and things like that, and do lots of footage and so on as well.
Awesome. Absolutely. So I'm chatting with a few of the folks from the platform engineering day as well. So there's a lot of crowded space in here. So it's been a very popular event in the co-located event space. So hopefully, as we go along, some people could join us as well. But I think the KubeCon in general is a very, very busy space. A lot of the folks have been, and I think one thing really deserves the attention of the audience, I will say, is KubeCon is a very nerdy conference. Sometime it's not some of the, it's totally open source, and sometime I think it's a great educational resource for everyone. I have learned a lot for the KubeCon talks that actually flowing into the YouTube channel. So there are so many great talks in there. And I think it's been one of the nerdiest conferences you can imagine. Like every time we go in there, I remember back in the days, the KubeCon was something like, oh, there's a policy as code coming up from, there's more tooling from Kyverno, open policy agent. And then to jump in to see there is so many innovation happening with a very smaller amount of time. Then this Argo CD comes up, with Flux and Argo War coming up in the future. And now we see, as of speaking, platform engineering is one of the things that mostly catches the audience, and then the WASM is other big thing as well. And
Yeah.
me and Richard is speaking all the time this thing that the generative AI is a booming in the KubeCon. If you look at all the talks, I think more of the talks are now aiming and target toward Gen AI. So we see how this system is evolved, how this thing is happening. But this is day zero of KubeCon. So actually the main thing happening from starting tomorrow, and we have guests like Liz Rice and also Colin Griffin from the Chromeware is also joining us. And possibilities are someone from the Fermion booth will be joining us and telling us what's crazy thing happening in the WASM particularly, because WASMCon is happening today. So he might be able to give us some insight from joining us live tomorrow and telling us what's all crazy thing about WASM and how interactions are shaping up during the conference as well. But I go back to once again, Richard. Richard, our YouTube have actually have a quite very long journey for 2025. Can you briefly tell us, our audience, like how was we busy with all the podcasting and scheduling and uploading and making guests feel like a good space for them? So what was the year so far with Cloud Therapist?
It's been interesting. One of the tasks I set myself for this year for the channel, I think I used the early as kind of learning, doing things like video editing and so on, which has been actually both difficult but also fun to do, to kind of as a skill to learn, almost like a sort of a hobby as well, kind of trying to improve myself. Also the kind of topics I wanted to focus on, the guests I wanted to bring on, and so on. So that's kind of been the last few or the early years of kind of the channel. And then for this year, what I wanted to do, what my sort of really main goal was to try and be able to upload consistently, to actually upload, a talk, a video, a review, interview, demo, whatever it is that I was doing, to actually do that on a regular basis. And as you probably know quite well, maybe some other people as well will know that YouTube's algorithm really likes you uploading things regularly. So if you actually do things regularly, then it's kind of takes that into account. So that was kind of the one of the goals for the channel, and then the other goal was really to do a lot more of the live events as well. So I attended quite a few this year. I did the State of Open Con in the UK, so that was back in, I think, February. I did AWS Summit as well. I think they had the exec leaders event and the AWS recap, which they do as well. So I attended all of those as far as AWS was concerned. And then moved on to sort of some other conferences as well. So the Open Source Summit. I did the Big Data London event, which is a huge event around sort of data and AI and so on. And then the SRE Day event as well. And then in between all of that, I've kind of attended webinars and things like that. But I think the interesting for me has been diversifying some of the topics. So I've kind of done a few more around AI. I'm doing more around AI as well soon. In fact, I can actually probably announce something new for the channel. Same, if that's okay.
Yes, absolutely. Why not?
Cool. Okay. So going forward and coming out to the Cloud Therapist channel very soon is a new segment, which is going to be AI State of Play. So much in the same way as I've been doing the regular Cloud State of Play, which is a monthly sort of segment that I do with the regular. Same, you've been on it as a guest as well. I've had Cheryl Hung and various other people have also attended as well for this year. There will also be now an AI State of Play. So it's not
Oh,
going to be
that's
as,
great.
so it's not going to be as regular as so it's not going to be like a monthly. I'm focusing probably more on a quarterly basis. So every quarter there'll be a new AI state of play that will come out, and who knows, maybe in the future, if there's enough content and there's enough people that want to come on and do a conversation with me, then maybe I'll turn it into a monthly one as well. But at the moment, it's going to be a quarterly segment. The first episode, well, a couple of the first 2-3 first episodes have already been shot, so I'll be releasing those soon. And the first one is going to be coming out in the next few weeks, hopefully. So that's already ready to go, and that's going to be the new segment, AI State of Play.
Yes, that's a great news because I think it's very important to track what's happening in the AI space currently. I think I think there is a lot of misconceptions around AI, and sometimes there's very unique use cases. In
Yeah,
particularly when I see some of the companies are actually using it for some of the observability needs, some of the
yeah,
troubleshooting needs. I actually did a one episode with runme.dev, and I'm really incredibly seeing they actually give me they just showed a demo of where it tells the intent. I
yeah,
want a log from AWS cloud, and they're written in a plain English language. And the
yeah,
next cell, there's a new command appearing that the G cloud, you can run this thing, and then the command is appearing. And I'm really surprised by this really innovative approach they have got. So it's been very incredible to see some of the stuff happening in that area as well. So AI state of the play is a next place for you to chime in and see what the people are talking about and what they have to actually need to focus on as well. And I think in particularly we will try to see if someone from the KubeCon who actually presenting some session on the AI, we definitely, I think me and Richard can try to tap into those speaker and ask us to join us and share what they actually have presented and what their audience reactions for their talk and the KubeCon. So that would be a great one.
yeah. I mean, I think you're right. And just going back to what you were saying the not only the kind of it's an important area to get to understand and so on, even if it's kind of on a very sort of rudimentary level. But I think it's also useful that we can also learn from the all of the sort of technologies, all the connect with lots of people that are sort of in that space, in the AI and generative AI sort of space. I think that makes a lot of sense as well. And then we also need to just keep up really with all of the activities. I mean, that space, the AI and generative AI, the LLM space is moving so quickly. It's moving, fast, really, really fast. So, and that's why actually I didn't want to, do like a monthly event because I think it was just going to be overtaken. It's something that might be announced today or might be cool today may not be, may not be tomorrow. So, or maybe superseded tomorrow by something else. So I think it's better to, for AI state of play anyway. Yes, we're going to kind of look at all of those things. We're going to, talk about the technologies. We're going to sort of hopefully do some demos in the future and stuff like that. Talk for some people who are, in that space. Talk about some of the terminology, some of the sort of, aspects of that and so on. So all of that hopefully will be in the AI state of play segment. But it's just going to take really, like I said, this because things are moving so quickly. I think I want to kind of reflect a little bit every quarter and then say, okay, yeah, so these these topics are coming up quite a lot. People are talking about it, so let's go and do the discussion around these. But it'll be in the same format as cloud state of play. So I'll be picking on 3 topics every quarter, and then I'll be having sort of somebody to come on. So the only difference where normally I have Paul Bevan, who's kind of my partner for the cloud state of play segment, unless he's on holiday or something, and then people like yourself have kind of jumped on that and helped out. The AI state of play is actually deliberately going to be different people.
Oh, sorry to cut you off, Richard, but Abby is joining us. Oh, that's incredibly helpful. Hello, Abby. Can you
Hello.
hear us?
Please, Richard, finish your sentence. I didn't mean to cut you off there.
No, that's okay. That's okay. I was just filling in some time.
That's great, Abby. Thank you for joining us. Can you give us because you are in a very good space currently, Platform Engineering Day, we have been working on for a very while, and you are a part of the CNCF Platform Working Group. So now it's your stage. Give us some insight because we are frustrated not to be here. So give us
Ah,
some stuff, what's happening there.
wish you could be here. There's definitely some large energy around the platform engineering space. I've heard rumors that we have one of the most packed rooms. I haven't, unfortunately, been able to see the other rooms, so I can't verify this information. But yeah, I'm out actually in the sponsor area. So my company, Syntasso, is sponsoring, but so is Cortex and Gitpod and Fort. So lots of solutions that help organizations deliver their software through platforms. So yeah.
Absolutely. And you are absolutely right. I've seen some posts on the Twitter and Blue Sky. So
Yeah.
the room is packed, I believe. So this is a great thing. I think is a great achievement by the program committee who actually able to come up with that tremendous insight for that as well. And also, Abby is up. Can you give us some insights? What are the recent talks, or what is the basically area of interest specifically? Like, is it currently platform engineering is going on? Have you watched any of the talk? And your talk is also there, I believe. So is it
I'm
already happened, or is going to
I'm
be
all
happen?
wrapped up. Yeah. And just to say, appreciate all of your work on the program committee, right? So you helped review all the CFPs, which so did I. And I think that makes a very big difference. But I might lower my voice and I show you around the room for a minute. So we're in the middle of talks now, but let's see if I can show you the room.
Oh, that's great. Great to see. Oh my God, that's
Okay.
So yeah, that's we're hearing from David from the New York Times right now about his experience building platforms. There's about 300 people in the room, so it's been very, very exciting. And we heard this morning that platform engineering has been kind of so popular that we were going to expand to 2 tracks come London. So if you weren't able to make KubeCon here in Salt Lake City, if you can make it to London, we've got even more platform engineering for you. So yes.
oh, that's great, Richard. I believe this make you happy because you are the next time host for the KubeCon. So this make you happy.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, I'd love to do that. I think I'm trying to find some way so I can kind of jump on and do some talks. I'm kind of sort of in agnostic when it comes to platform engineering. So
Awesome.
yeah, I'm interested in kind of learning more and being convinced. Really, I think that's my
I
thing.
think,
So
look, as a part of the working group, one of the discussions I actually just had with someone is about how we don't believe there's one solution. We don't believe that you should be hit by a hammer that is called platform engineering. In reality, platform engineering is delivering what your business needs to be able to move faster, safer, more efficiently. And sometimes that's a wiki page. Sometimes that's some pipelines running in Jenkins. This person did not agree with me on that. And sometimes it's an off-the-shelf solution, and sometimes it's a homemade solution. What matters is you're building what the business needs. That's what we really try and advocate for and support people with. So.
Yes,
cool.
absolutely. And Abby, just one thing, I know you are in a very busy spot right now because hosting, conducting, this is a part of the CNCF activity. And also, I think you definitely, because we have two more questions basically for you. One, I think you did also a talk on the Platform Engineering Day. So
It's
what was it about that? Is it already happening, or can you
already
send it? We
happened.
can. Oh, cool. That's
It's
great.
already happened, but they get the videos up quite quickly, so I would expect you might be able to see it by end of the week. I was partnering up with Jorge, who's this amazing contributor to Backstage, and we were talking about what life looks like when you use just a portal versus what life looks like when building platforms with a portal interface, but platform API supporting those interfaces, and how that changes your kind of operability of the platform, that ability to maintain it, extend it, make it usable, and how those two technologies sometimes get pitted against each other, but actually really, I think, collaborate in reality. So it was really fun. It's called Two Peas in a Pod, Platforms and Portals, and I hope people check it out later this week.
Awesome, absolutely. And also, I think now people who are seeing you wearing the Creatics hat, Creatics shirt, and they wanted to know like what it is. What is it? A tool? Is it a company? What is it? Can you share something about that particularly?
Of course. So we're an open source Apache 2 framework. So one of the interesting things about us in comparison to some other tools in this space is our entire ethos is that you can't buy your complete platform. We highly advocate you buy as many components as you can. But what we've learned after years and years of building large scale, highly regulated platforms is that there's always that last mile that you need to optimize for your organization. And right now, to do that is difficult. And it's often with using very low level tools and trying to glue together bash scripts and Ansible scripts and Terraform modules and all these kind of little low level pieces. And what we want to do and what we are doing is providing a framework for people to provide services that are bespoke to their company, but built at a more maintainable level than some of the technologies out there today. So help you package up those services internally.
Awesome, absolutely. And I think one more question is basically like where is I think open source project has some booth in the CNCF particularly, and also you're representing the Tag App Delivery Technically Advisory Group in the CNCF. So it is a booth is already set up today, is set up tomorrow. How people can catch you because there's a 3-day of you are present at the KubeCon.
We're already on day 3. I was at Rejects for 2 days. I'm here now. So Syntasso, my company, is only sponsoring this co-located day. So we have a booth here today. But the Tag, as you mentioned, is a group I love to work with. And we have a Project Pavilion booth that will be running for the next 3 days, starting tomorrow. So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And you'll be able to talk to people from all the different working groups, including the new app developer and infrastructure lifecycle working groups. So if you think about the fact that to get an app delivered, you almost need a 3-tier internal system. You need that sort of interface for the app developers. And yes, you need that infrastructure as code to be able to create your tools, but you also need that orchestration of your business layer. And we now have, I'm so happy to say we have 3 working groups that collaborate to help people understand how to build internal tooling effectively for their organizations. So
yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
Come say hi.
Absolutely. And I think it's great to see people are watching us. I can see from one of the streaming link. So I think when we spoke about, I think platform assessment model is basically that we're working on. And I think this is our call to tell people this is a KubeCon, this is a platform engineering day where you're actually heading. So tell us people about how they basically interact with us as a platform working group and share some insight and talk to us about their journey in the platform engineering.
It's a great question. And just to say, we welcome people with all different levels of experience and interest. So if you're somebody who wants to consume content, you're welcome. Create content, you're welcome. Ask questions, you're welcome. Listen, all of that is welcome. And so we meet every other week on Tuesday at 4 p.m. London time. And during that time, we talk about all of our open projects. And 2 of the big ones are the assessment model that you were just talking about and the platform as a product research, where we're trying to understand what people are actually doing around the industry when it comes to platforms as a product, not just what people write about on their blogs, right? So we're doing those pieces of work. So come to our meetings. If you can't make the synchronous meetings, we have a channel called WG-Platforms in the CNCF Slack, and we would love to have you come join us there and ask questions and discuss things. And everything's async as well. So. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely, 100%. I think this is a great people. This is a great nerdiest place for the platform engineer to hang out and talk to everybody. So it's been some wonderful people in there. I love talking to them every day. I think this is one of the good educational resource for a lot of the learner for the platform engineer, because this is a new space. People have their ideas, they have their
Yep.
opinion, they have their customer experience, they have their past experience, they have present experience, and sometimes we fight with each other, and sometimes we say,
It's
yes, you
good.
are right,
And we
and
hash
that's all.
out things. So it's good. It's all a
Yeah.
very welcoming and friendly crowd. So yeah, please join us.
Yes, absolutely. And Abhi, before you let you off, is can you tell us about the conference in journal today, and also the food and everything? Because wherever humans go, they need energy and they want to
Yes.
hydrate
I've
themselves.
not to talk a bad word about Paris, but the food here is fabulous in comparison. So I'm gluten free and I had a hard time in Paris, but yes, I've had a lovely wrap here. The people in Salt Lake City outside the venue have been absolutely welcoming and brilliant, and all the people here from the CNCF and from the different sponsors and all of that, and the supports across the rooms are all amazing. So far, I'd say the energy is quite high. Everyone's being taken care of, and the coffee is definitely starting to flow. So yeah,
Awesome, absolutely. And I've also seen this today is a snowy day, I
it
believe. I've
was.
seen some.
It was crazy. It was absolutely snowing down on us on the way into the venue today. And the fact we still have a full room, I think, tells you there's a lot of locals to the Utah area that understand what snow looks like or something. So, yeah.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Over to Richard. Richard, you have anything before we let
Yeah,
off our
absolutely.
wonderful
So
guest?
yeah, so Abby, I'm just curious, kind of what's been. I know it's kind of early days at the conference, but what's kind of been some of the conversations with just some of the, the people sort of, just visiting and coming along, especially if any sort of customers, and or enterprises, just not the vendors. I think we kind of have lots of opinions from the vendors, but more from kind of the enterprises. What's kind of the discussions around platform engineering for them?
Yeah, so we had a really nice time last night out for a couple of drinks around a new concept around a platform spec. And it was really interesting is this is something that often comes and goes in conversation where people wish they could just take off the shelf, something and be able to use it. And I'll be honest, I don't think we've gotten there yet with any of these specs, but the fact people continue to look for them and want them is something that is a common thread I'm seeing across multiple KubeCons and across multiple conversations here. So yeah, trying to figure out, I guess what people are hungry for is is making sure they're on the right track. So there's a lot of conversations of trying to understand what other people are doing and can I absorb solutions that great people around me have used so that I don't have to recreate the wheel. And that is something that I think we're all sort of trying to figure out. So.
Right, and in terms of, and this is kind of been a sort of a long time thing, sort of for me. It's just interested and curious, and we sort of initially were focusing a lot more on sort of just what I'll call kind of the classical traditional DevOps sort of approach, and then we sort of started looking more around platform engineering. There's a lot of confusion at the beginning, and maybe still going on at the moment. Is DevOps dead? Does that mean platform engineering is going to replace it? Blah blah blah. And I think we've kind of answered that question. But how has it been? And this kind of from maybe your experience, helping customers, again, helping enterprises, has been kind of the transition for those types of customers who were kind of doing that more traditional approach to DevOps to this kind of new methodology, new approach of doing platform engineering and building sort of products and so on.
Yeah, I mean, I think the hardest thing is learning how to kind of interact with users and treat them as users and as customers instead of just as those annoying people throwing tickets at you, over the wall. I think that genuinely is a very hard skill and something that is going to take a lot of time to practice and get better at. Yeah. But I think that the thing I personally am most passionate about here is, and I did quote on stage earlier today, my good friend Lou from GitPod, where he tweeted a while ago something like, I'm worried that platform engineering is ops in a trench coat. And I think that the reason I hear that and see that is because when you have a platform team that is operating as the sole provider of services, even if those services are self-service and on demand and behind an API and accessible through a portal, it's still a bottleneck of a single team to provide services. Yeah. And what I love is there's been conversations here today and over the last couple of days about what it looks like to build a platform that supports not only requests for things, but also supports the subject matter experts in the organization to build their services onto it. So you become sort of the Etsy or the Uber internal to your organization. You're not providing rides or, homemade goods. What you're providing is a way for people to connect, for subject matter experts or certain skilled people to provide services to people who need them. And I think that if we can keep moving platform engineering in that direction, we'll continue to have success with improving business outcomes. And that's the thing that's going to keep platform engineering around, is only if it improves business outcomes. So
Yeah. Okay. I mean, yeah, I kind of see that. I was just kind of maybe looking at it, where, people kind of, it's taken a long time and it's been quite difficult. A lot of people are still finding it a challenge to sort of, to move from the old sort of way of, developing applications and that sort of whole, life cycle that goes on with that to DevOps. So that was kind of has been a challenge to, lots of people. And then it was kind of almost, they reached the top of the mountain and actually figured that that's not the right mountain or something. It's kind of, hang on, it's over there. It's called the platform engineering one. We climbed the wrong one, sort of thing.
I think you climbed in my opinion, you climbed the right mountain. And you still, if you're in that space, you still automated things, which is great. And you hopefully started to build in an ownership model of the things you build and the things you operate. Now, what the challenge is that I've seen, because I've worked in both small and larger organizations as a platform engineer before I joined the dark side as a vendor, is that with the smaller organizations, you can kind of manage the full stack. It may not be smart to do, but you can kind of do it. The real power is when you are building and operating a smaller stack. So instead of having to be thinking like you're building and operating down to like the power supply for your servers, if you're building and operating a much smaller surface area, so just the business value application that you're running, you can be a lot more powerful. And I think that's where platform engineering is going to really thrive. And so that DevOps model of high empathy for your users, high feedback loops, building and operating the software you're in charge of is I hope, going to be here for a long time to stay. But we're just going to change the scoping of your stack so that you can do so with a more high leverage than right now, where you're kind of managing much larger things. So.
Yeah, and there's that kind of, I guess, that sort of, bringing in a lot more sort of standardization as well in terms of how you do things and how you approach that. I mean, some people have kind of maybe looked at that as being a little bit sort of restrictive, maybe, because developers tend to be kind of, they're almost sort of artists.
Free-spirited.
Yeah, exactly. They're very much artists and so on. Kind of in the way they do things, they've got their own tools, they've got kind of their own way of doing stuff, their own sort of favorite libraries or whatever. And then we're kind of coming in and maybe sort of applying some sort of standards or framework in terms of how they can operate within a particular environment. So it's kind of just really looking at that sort of how can we eliminate some of that friction that may be there in those sorts of circumstances. I guess it's not kind of a huge thing, but because most people kind of adapt and adopt to things. But I think it's useful to take everybody along on the journey as well, and we don't leave anybody behind on the journey.
I'll be potentially controversial and say that there are organizations where developer experience, as in the type of employee experience where you have a beer fridge and a pool table, isn't actually the best thing for the organization. And while the app developers might want that, often I actually find, even though they think they want that, what they really want is the employee experience of having high autonomy, high trust, providing high value. And when you boil that down to platform engineering, sometimes that does mean more consistency and less sort of artistry in your environment, but it also means you're unleashed to do the more interesting and exciting things. Now, not everyone's going to like working in that environment. That's okay, because some organizations require more strict compliance than others. So if you don't want a high compliance environment, then that changes the org you might look to work in. But in the controversial thing, I guess, for me, is that platform engineering isn't just about pool tables and beer fridges, styles of experiences, and DevX. It's actually about that reducing the load to still get the business outcomes of secure and reliable and efficient software delivery. So, but right now DevX is very exciting for people, and I do believe that it's valuable to have people be happy in their jobs. They will do better, and so that is a big part of the platform. I just don't think it's the whole thing of the platform.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think it's probably a sort of a fine balance to try and really get that. As you said, there is people kind of in that sort of artistic camp, and then but then we are sort of we are companies who are sort of trying to make profits, right? So in order to kind of do that the best way that we can, we need that sort of framework. We need that kind of standardization, and we really have applied standardization to everything else that we do, like automation of how we build our sort of code or our infrastructure, rather, using things like infrastructure as code and automation tools when it comes to building that in the cloud. So we really do need to apply that as well in how we kind of maybe develop things and the the processes and the products that we we use for that as well. So yeah, no, I do agree with that. But I think, like I said, it's just kind of a bit of a balance.
There's a lot of balancing, exactly. But it's been
Well,
absolutely lovely chatting. Yeah. I unfortunately do need to run. I think we're about to get a flood of people in the hallway, and you won't be able to hear me in a second. So, but it's been so lovely chatting with you both and with everyone who's on the call. I'm sad to be missing you here in Salt Lake City, but look forward to seeing you another time. So
that'll be cool.
Thank you very much, Abby.
Cool.
That's a great. Thank you very much for your
Bye,
time.
y'all.
Have a wonderful day. Bye bye.
Wow, that was good.
Oh, that was
was platform
superb.
engineering.
That was absolutely platform engineering.
I think
They
Abby's
just
exactly in the right place to be talking about that, and I'm glad she actually was a lot more balanced in her view about sort of how we were doing DevOps, and now we're kind of trying to pivot more sort of towards platform engineering. I actually did a talk earlier this year, and I deliberately called it Platform Engineering versus the World, because at the time it sounded like everybody was kind of, what's this thing called platform engineering? Why do we have to do this? We just got, like I said, we just climbed the DevOps mountain, and now you're saying it's the wrong mountain. So yeah, so it's cool to actually sort of hear from Abby that she's she's aware of that, she's cognizant of those challenges, and where we focused more around sort of DevOps, and now we're sort of looking more around platform engineering and kind of formalizing some of those processes that we've had in the past. So I think that's good. I think she had the right idea, and I agree with that.
Yes, absolutely. I think the one thing I really love about, I think we don't know what's happening. We are always been skeptical with every new things coming our way. And remember, I did an episode with you in the platform engineering, and you heard the comment. It's very right to be skeptical with this platform engineering because this is a new step. But I believe compared to the DevOps era, where we don't have communities, we don't have anything, I think this thing is shaping up very nicely. Now we have communities, we have local and international events. We can criticize people, we can talk about it, and we can tell about it anything as well. So I think this is going to be a fun ride sometime. This is going to be a headache ride for some time. But I still believe, I think there's something acceptable coming out from this way as well. Oh, some comments are flowing through. Open up the clouds. It's a great idea to do this live stream. And thank you, Open Up the Cloud, for this. I don't know. I hope there's a few more guests appearing us. And I believe one more guest will be joining. So Richard, we might we need to spin up for the few minutes, because I believe one more guest will joining us.
Okay, sure.
He's actually currently is Istio Day. I think he's attending an Istio Day conference, co-located event.
Cool.
I think we managed to pull up some good things in this podcast. That's great. People are liking it. It's Lou Bickard, I believe. Lou, is it you? I hope is Lou is my friend from the Platform Engineering Day, I believe. I will need to check. So he's from our platform working group where the Abby Bangser is joining us from. So it's been great. But I think, oh yes, Lou, thanks for telling me. I haven't known this is your channel. Oh, people, you should subscribe to the Open Up the Cloud because my friend Lou is is been a great platform engineer. I can tell you, I've been spending a lot of my time this year with Lou Bickard, and he is a very good. Uh, uh, and he said he's not been there. Uh, and he said is these type of live stream are great to keep up what's happening on. So that's a great. Lou, I wish I knew earlier that this is your YouTube channel. So we definitely pin it out. So it's been great to have you as well. So it's been superb. I'm waiting for my next guest. His name is Faisal Afzal. Hopefully in the next 10 minutes, he will join us and tell us little about of Istio as well, the service mesh in journal and other stuff as well. So that would be great. But it's been Richard, before we actually having another guest is arriving.
Yeah.
Tell us about people what is our plan for tomorrow, because 2 new guests and possibilities are 3 new guests from 3 different places joining
Even
us.
I don't know who the guests are. You've kept it such a secret, Sam. Even I don't know who the guests are. Well, I know one of the guests maybe, because she has been on my channel before, and I think you kind of let it slip early, and you said who it was going to be, right, when Bill was on.
Yes.
But I don't know who the other guests are. It's going to be as much of a surprise to me as anybody watching the live stream.
Yes, but we have to keep it secret. But let me tell you, like these 3 guests is arriving. 3 guests possibilities are arriving, and they are from 3 different places. So we have to keep it a secret, but 3 different guests. So I can tell you about the topic, but speaker has to be secret. Once again, Cilium and eBPF. Another, we have still somewhere internal developer platform engineering, and you will see the recap of Platform Engineering Day, because the guest is arriving us. He is actually at the conference, is having some talks in there. And oh my God, my friend is joining us from Salt Lake. He works as a resident architect at HashiCorp. Faisal, can you tell us where is you coming from, which talk you attended, and tell us a little bit about self, how things are flowing?
I am running
Faisal,
into issues here. I'll be right back. I will be right back.
Okay, no worries. Sure. So Faisal is having some difficulties, and hopefully so, to tell you some of the troubleshooting capabilities as well when you're in the live stream as well. But hopefully she's joining us as well. Possibilities are he's joining us from the Istio Day, and he's telling about what's happened in the co-located event as well. Okay, so Richard, I think people, if liking this idea of the KubeCon coverage, we need to muscle up and take this idea into a lot new level in the near future.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think what we need. I think what we need for the next one is a robot, and then we can connect him to the conference's IP, and then we can remotely run him through the showcase area, and then he'll have a microphone on it, and he'll just stop at the stands of the booths. And then whoever's there, will enable the webcam, and we can do the interviews.
Awesome. That's a good idea. We definitely try it, but we need to talk with the NASA people as well to give us a report like this. Let me once again, Faisal is here once again. Faisal, you've right finally. I'm good. Just give us a little bit about us. Where is you coming from? What have you attended and experience of so far in the Salt Lake?
Yeah. So first of all, the conference kicked off over the weekend, right, with the rejects, and that was a pretty star-studded event. A lot of activity, a lot of some really good positive content that came out of there. Today kind of was more of a focus day for all the cons, starting from Argo, platform engineering, and the question from you about where am I coming from, right? So I just finished listening in on a conversation on HTO specific to ambient. And so this year seems to be the year that service mesh has become not so much of that, far away thing. And I think ambient going GA just in time has created a lot of attraction and excitement. So I definitely think that today's day was, if I have to pick, I would say between ArgoCon and HTO.
Awesome, wonderful. So I think like it's third time or the fourth time is a happening event. It's a service mesh and it has a lot of capability. So which
Third year.
one specific
Third year.
Yes,
Yeah, this is the
absolutely.
third year. I think it has been rebranded. It started out with a service mesh con early on, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So this would be the third time.
Yes, absolutely. And I think they recently announced, I think, the GA release of ambient mesh in I think
1.24 version 1.24
yes,
just came out.
absolutely.
Yes.
That would be a great. So, Faisal, can you tell us a little about of what is your plans for the next 3 days or 3 days, I guess, in the KubeCon, where you will be busy and how people can interact with you during the conference?
Yeah, I will be just literally in and out of talks and listening in, and perhaps spending some time starting tomorrow at the expo where the vendors are going to be. As you at least know, I'll manage the Cloud Native Los Angeles group.
Yes.
And so my objective here is to help support the chapter, the group, and see what value I can provide. But yeah, while you're asking about what else is going on today, I'm actually coordinating an event that is going to be that's going to include panelists from Solo.io. Their pre-CTO Kristen Hosta is going to be there. Rosemary Wang from HashiCorp, developer advocate. The guy who is responsible for Argo CD project, Hong Wang, he's going to be there. And let's see who else. I've got Sean Ritchie, my former CEO from nClouds. He's going to be moderating the panelists. And then I've also got AWS head of Kubernetes, Nathan Tabor, who is going to be joining for the event. In case you guys don't know, AWS has a lead on the Kubernetes market when it comes to cloud service
I think the
providers.
Faisal freezes for us.
Did I?
Are you back?
I can
Yes,
hear
you're back.
now?
You're back. Yes,
Yeah.
you're back. Now can you can.
Yeah, absolutely. So just to kind of recap, so the focus of today would be for the event that's at 5:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, and the title of that event is migration and modernization. So as you guys know, it's somewhat easy to do a migration. Modernization becomes a whole, different type of journey altogether, right? A lot of challenges with modernizing applications. Just coming out of service mesh, in case you need a service mesh for your microservices, that adds a lot more complexity. Not to mention that the complexity is there to start with modernizing the applications, right? So tonight's event at 5:30 p.m. Is around modernization and migration. And as I said before, we've got panelists starting with Solo.io CTO Christian Pasta, Mary Wang, she's the developer advocate at HashiCorp, a company that I'm affiliated with now, as well as Nathan Tabor, head of Kubernetes at AWS, and Hong Wang, the creator of Argo CD project. Yep.
Yes, absolutely. And speaking of this thing, might be people asking what is Faisal is talking about. So the Faisal is talking about Cloud Native Los Angeles group. And they actually, Richard, they actually hosting an event. And in the KubeCon, companies and individuals are also hosting their own event. So this event has some great guests, Christian Posta, and I think Nathan Tabler from the AWS container specialist, and Rosemary Wang, and some very good guest experience on the screen. So this is a link for them to able to join. So basically 3 companies, HashiCorp, Solo, Equity, nClouds, and Solo.io. These are the
And
4
AWS,
company
yes.
parts. At AWS, yes, the 5 companies. So it's going to be a hell a lot of ride for you, Faisal. So we look forward
Oh
to
yeah,
seeing what's your learning coming
yeah,
from this event.
absolutely. And I think this event is good for those who are local to Salt Lake City, yet have not secured a KubeCon pass. So this event does not require a KubeCon pass either. So we're looking forward to seeing some good numbers at the event. Of course, that's
Awesome,
the last event.
absolutely.
Of course, that's the last event before people start to unpack what they learned today, right? And perhaps discuss over dinner and drinks. So that one last event stands in between that and those unpacking of the day's event, as well as figuring out what's going to be the theme for this year.
Awesome, that's great. So Faisal, you are our third guest of the today. We managed to pull up 3 people on our live stream, and we're catching people from Slack and every places. So first, Bill Mulligan is catching us, and he's telling us from the different booths for the different location, and he's at this, I think, EBPF Con. And then Abby Bangser joined us for the Platform Engineering Day, and you coming from the Istio Day. So I think we did a good coverage of today. But this is on a smaller note. What is the taste of the food, the hydration you need to muscle up your energy for this conference, because this is quite a very huge space to be in there. And also you need some warmer space because there's a lot of snowing going on. In terms of the planning of the conference, the area and everything, how things are flowing.
Yeah. So first of all, it's an overcast day here in Salt Lake City. In fact, we were graced with some good snow early on in the morning. So it was definitely more than just a few flurries. In fact, that went on for about a few hours. But otherwise, the mood inside the event is very focused and very, very much exciting.
Awesome, awesome, absolutely. So, Richard, you have some question for our guest or anything you like to call upon?
Sure. Yeah. So I mean, Faisal, kind of, what's your take on, this being sort of the 10th anniversary of Kubernetes, where kind of Kubernetes is? I think we probably won't talk about the past because the past is the past, but just kind of where it is at the moment and kind of going forward. What's kind of the vision from HashiCorp and maybe just personally yourself as well?
Right. So I think Kubernetes, and this being the year, right, the 10-year anniversary, Kubernetes is no longer elusive at organization level. A lot of organizations have kind of moved on beyond cloud migrations and into containerization and overall cloud native journeys, right? So I would say that it has become mainstream. It definitely there's definitely a lot of value that needs to be pulled out of these journeys. I would say it has become mainstream. I would say that one good thing about service mesh being the story, at least today, and I would say for a good portion of this year, is going to really establish Kubernetes as the cloud native way of modernizing applications. And what I mean by that is, as organizations mature into a cloud native journey, microservice or applications, I think what we're seeing is a good evolution of service mesh, especially coming from Istio and with Ambient, and it will help minimize the cost. It will continue to abstract away the complexity, right, that comes with networking and the challenges that are associated with microservicing and number of apps. So I would say Kubernetes is live and well, and has achieved the maturity, right, that we were hoping that it would. And from here onwards, I think what you're going to see is a lot more focus on really trying to finish the last mile journey of microservices for organizations. Okay.
One of the other things I've been picking up on recently, there seems to be a little bit of a backlash in the sort of the IT press, is around microservices, and there seems to be a little bit of a backlash around microservices at the moment. People kind of talking a little bit about sort of the cost, the services tend to be quite chatty. and so on. And it's kind of, if you kind of scale that, it gets a lot more complex. What's your kind of take on that, and sort of looking at that from sort of that Istio angle?
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of conversation that is happening just from the context of Istio, and having Ambient becoming a recent GA. There's definitely a lot of emphasis on how to further improve the delivery model of service mesh. Right, you talk about Z-tunnel, you talk about perhaps a dedicated proxy layer that helps with traffic, maybe advancing and emerging the CNI layer, right? So from a service mesh perspective, I think this is an exciting time. Where we're going to see is there's going to be a lot more evolution, right? Irrespective of where things land. That's one thing. When it comes to cost, microservices, as well as the complexity, the chattiness, I think a lot of that. My view is if you come from a traditional data center, and if you come from monolith applications, there's a lot of cost. There's a lot of chattiness there as well, right? So I think the real value with microservices and cloud native journeys is that you're really giving developers the freedom, the luxury to go out and make things happen, at a faster rate and a faster scale. I'm not particularly naive to their complexity, and obviously with tons of microservices out there, there's going to be a lot of chattiness. But I'm very much of the view that we're going to see improvement in that area.
Okay, so kind of the overall view from your perspective, and kind of the conversations and meetings and whatever that you have, is that space, as with everything else, has its challenges, but it's still kind of the way to go as far as that sort of cloud native approach.
Absolutely.
Cool. And the other question I had was around sort of architecture. There's lots of kind of recently talk about sort of cell architecture. There's been talk around sort of the modular monolith sort of architecture. Is kind of microservices from an architecture point of view still making sense at the moment?
I would have to take a pause on that question. I've heard a lot about the cellular architecture over the last few months. I'm not really sure how relevant that would be at this point, and my own understanding when that is limited.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's kind of just saying that, every service, we've kind of looked at things maybe from a container point of view and so on, or a microservice point of view, and now it's kind of looking at it from every service that performs a particular task needs to be in this so-called cell, and that cell is a kind of a logical approach. I mean, I would have thought that kind of at the pod level is good enough, really, in terms of kind of, if you want to do things logically, that's good enough in terms of kind of how you architect things. But I don't know, maybe architects like to change things around sometimes, so they kind of want to come up with something new.
Well, I think that it's always worth the effort to look at how you can achieve further high availability, right, in a multi-tenant application-based pattern. And I think the cell-based architecture is definitely a step in the right direction for sure.
Yeah, cool. Okay, well, I do appreciate you. I mean, I know sort of when I put stuff out, and I know that you interact with that and like it and so on. So I do appreciate you doing that, Faisal. So it's been great to actually finally be able to speak to you as well, which is fantastic.
Likewise,
Thanks,
thank
Faisal.
you.
I know you. Thanks, Faisal. I know you are busy. The big day for you because you are actually in the event. You have coordinated a lot for the CNCF LA group, and the 5 big companies are participating in there. So tons of congratulations for that, and best wishes for the execution. And I look forward to hosting you some podcast of what you are learning from the KubeCon Salt Lake as well. And thank you very much. You actually in something in the conference, and I ping you there and you just join us. It's really appreciated. So have a wonderful day,
Absolutely.
Faisal, and we'll talk to you
Absolutely.
soon.
All right. Thank you, Simon. Thank you, Richard. Bye.
Oh,
Wow.
great, Richard. I
Yeah,
think we have pulled together a good share today.
we have. We have. I
But
think
good.
the spontaneity of having people just drop in and say, "Hey, look, these guys are online. Let's drop into their live stream." That's been fantastic. I think I've enjoyed
Yes,
that. And yeah, and
absolutely.
Faisal is. I think he's got kind of fingers in the right pies, as we say, in terms of kind of being connected to that space. And like I said, I picked up a lot recently in the press around microservices. So the whole
Yes.
there was an article which I'll try and I'm actually was looking for it while we were talking. From I think it was on the news stack, and it appeared late last year, so late 2023, and they were already at that point talking about is this the turning point for microservices? And I didn't catch it at the time, but somebody made me aware of it, later on, this year, and I was kind of a little bit puzzled by that. So I was thinking, hang on, but we're kind of now talking about sort of eBPF and stuff like that helping in that space as well. So why is this sort of and I parked it. I didn't do anything with it. But then again, even more recently, I've seen proper backlash around sort of microservices. This whole thing about the complexity when it comes to scale or scaling. Things like that. The services tend to be quite chatty, so there's a lot of network communication and so on. And maybe the cell architecture is kind of maybe designed to at least reduce, not eliminate, but reduce some of that chattiness that microservices need to have. Especially if
Yes.
you're doing a service mesh with things like STO or Linkerd or I don't know eBPF or whatever else is out there. So
Absolutely. I
that's
think this
an interesting area, definitely. I think.
absolutely. I think this is one of the sophisticated topic in the IT right now. And I think remember, I usually talk to the people around this angle, like if you have a microservice application, you coming from most typically from the monolithic world. And
Yeah.
in a monolithic world, you might have challenges in the developers and the DevOps agility, where you have spending a lot of time in plumbing logic for deploying the stuff, and you are slowing down your deployment frequency. In a
Yeah.
microservices environment, your deployment frequencies are very granular, but the problem is that you ends up in the latencies and security issues as well. So it's always been the challenge and the trade-off between developers and the DevOps agility versus the customer reliability, because you sometimes compromising the customer reliability
Yeah.
because of these Microsoft communicating with each other and they're taking time to respond back and forth. So I think this is that's why I'm saying one of the nerdiest topic in the internet is microservices. And that's
Yeah.
why the conference like KubeCon originated from container to orchestration to the service mesh. And
Yeah.
I don't know how far they will go in this spectrum.
Yeah. Let me. Yeah.
You
I'm
pull
just gonna.
you pull up some
I did.
I think the
I did.
article.
I did. And that's not the one I wanted, but I've now found the one that I was looking for.
Okay.
And this one, like I said, is just really hitting microservices in the right in between the eyes. And I don't know why. Like I said, that's maybe it's kind of I don't know sensationalism or whatever, but it was an interesting sort of take on this one here that I'm going to just share now. So this was an interesting take on sort of microservices. And this is going into a little bit more detail about, like I said, that sort of efficiency aspect of it, the scalability aspect of it. But it's outright asking, are microservices more trouble than they're worth, for the enterprise? And I think if microservices start falling off the cliff, so to speak, then the whole cloud native thing is well in some trouble at least. So I don't know. I mean, I'm not an expert on microservices, but from my sort of experience of working and creating them in the past, and then engaging in customer projects, this was kind of a holy grail for for trying that people wanted to reach. And for me, the journey to cloud and kind of going into sort of things like cloud native, microservices is absolutely pivotal, plays a pivotal part of that. That architecture plays a pivotal part of how organizations can change and refactor their applications, but also ultimately start reaching things like a serverless approach as well. And I think that
Absolutely.
cannot be achieved without something like either microservices or an equivalent, maybe something like WASM or something like that.
Absolutely. So I think, Richard, we have done a good job or bad job. The audience will let us know. But we are really thankful for our guest who actually just come towards us from nowhere. I just
Yeah,
pulling people from wherever they are. So it's really appreciated that they
yeah,
join us, give
absolutely.
us, and remove our frustration from need not being in the KubeCon. But guys, unfortunately, we have to stop. We can speak for a full day because
We
we are both nerdy. But Richard, my audience doesn't know this. This is the latest ever live stream I have done for, I think, 2 years of streaming. So Richard, I actually cross you because I am in the Wednesday and I know you are actually still ending your Tuesday. So I am in
yes,
Wednesday.
yes.
So remember, guys, for me, Wednesday is still the same. So when I'm streaming, this is for my Thursday. So forget about all the timing challenge. So my friend is asking, is my wonderful friend Lou is asking when we are streaming tomorrow. So
Ah,
Richard, you in UK, and you let them know when we are streaming tomorrow in the comment because you are Lou having the same time.
yeah. Well, we are
So
we are
thank you.
streaming exactly the same time, so it's I
So
don't know what
8
time it
p.m.
is for you.
GMT.
I think I don't know what time it is
Yes.
for you, Saim. It's quite late or early in the morning. 1 a.m. for you, 8 p.m. for me in London at GMT time, and I think it's 1 p.m. again MST for Salt Lake City.
Yes,
So same
absolutely.
time
I think
next next day and the next day.
oh, great. Lou, looking forward to meeting you tomorrow as well on the YouTube chat channel as well. And folks, tomorrow we have good guest. That is a big bet. I can't be sharing in here, but I can pull it. At least three are secured, but I'm at least targeting for the five guests from five different
Wow,
booths.
that's going to be
This
cool.
is going to
That's going to
be
be awesome.
incredible.
Yeah, it's going to be
Yes.
awesome.
So this means you have to keep an eye out on it. And I can tell you the topic because that's easy. We will be most probably having some CNCF ambassador joining us. We will be hosting WASM, platform engineering, WASM, and already internal developer portals, Cilium, and most probably open telemetry. But
Ooh.
these are the four topic. I hope, Richard, you love about this topic as
I
well.
am. I've got lots to
Oh,
talk about on open telemetry, so I
yes,
hope I guess
absolutely.
whoever it is, because like I said earlier, I don't know who it is. Even I don't know. It's so top
No,
secret. It's so top secret.
yes, absolutely.
Even I don't know who it
That's
is.
why. No, nobody knows it because this has to be kept secret so people can join us and see what
Yeah,
it is. But might be
absolutely.
there more folks coming and joining. Hopefully tomorrow is actually a day 01 at the KubeCon. So there's a lot of more pulling we can get together into this YouTube channel as well. But Richard, I think I really enjoy the conversation, even though it's close to, it's 2:24 a.m. for me. I am in a new day, Wednesday, but still I'm not finding and still I'm not sleep deprived because I've enjoyed a
That's
lot
good.
of the conversation. Especially, I'm really thankful for the Abby. He's just jump in and he actually really spent a lot of time with us. Faisal and Bill. Bill is actually was in a very good space. We'll see
Yeah,
what's going on in the conference.
yeah. Bill
So
Mulligan's
tomorrow
great.
visuals are
Always good.
something. Yes. And tomorrow visual or something like that as well. So Richard, I think we have to muscle up energy again in the near future.
Looking
So
forward to it.
my friend Lou is saying 2 a.m. is crazy. Yes, I know, but this is how we actually removing our frustration from the KubeCon not being in there. But Lou might be in the next KubeCon. We are all in the same place because this is happening in KubeCon London. So that's mean we will be live covering 2025 from not in the virtually, but actually in the stream as well. So thanks. So guys, this is the channel from Lou Bickard. He is from us in the platform engineering. He's a very good engineer working in the Gitpod, and his company is actually the sponsor of the platform engineering day as well. So yes, he is in the London, and we will look forward to hosting you as well. Absolutely. So we are around 85 minutes of live stream, so have to close it down. So thank you very much, Richard. Really enjoy chatting with you as well, and we'll look forward for the tomorrow live stream as well. With that, happy night for me, or morning, what do I
Morning
call
to
it?
you.
But yes, and we will be speaking soon. Bye. Have a wonderful day.